So we're going to wrap up, but I do want to just comment that as we have now gone deeper into all of this, I keep coming back to the notion that, in fact, many of the things that outcomes of walking are very similar to the things that we fully occur in some of the spiritual practices that we observe. And, you know, the whole experience of awe and wonder when we're out in nature, the reduction in sort of the feeling of stress and some of the other elements when we're, you know, in meditation. It seems like there's an awful lot of overlap here. I guess the question is whether or not there's any really good research coming out on some of these other practices that we should be paying attention to at this point.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work going on mindfulness and on meditation and on other things. So, and I think that the first thing to say is that people do experience interesting psychological states. There's no question about that. They're not always good, which is something that's not often said. So if you take people and you train them to be meditators, people who are naive meditators, about 20% of people who meditate find it to be an aversive experience. Yeah. They really do not like the dissolution of self that they experience. That not to say that casts any aspersions on the positive experience that the other 80% of people have, but we know with certainty that everything that people do, or there will be a group of people for whom it does not work. Right. And that's okay. Humans are different. But there's also little doubt that if you look over the course of human history, if you look across the planet, people chase the transcendent, however they define it, in all sorts of different ways. So I had the experience of being in India, I think in 2005, and the largest movement of people on the planet is to a religious festival which is held in October. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name of it. I found myself, I was at a conference, but we diverted from the conference to attend the kind of this festival. And something like 100 million people turn up, or 80 million people turn up, and they walk from all over India to this place, and then they walk home again. There's this, not quite on the same scale, but there's a massive pilgrimage undertaken in Mexico every year, a Marian pilgrimage. I think something like 4 million people a year go to that, which is, again, an astonishing number. You know, the Camino fell off a lot because of the COVID experience, but nonetheless, there are large numbers of people who undertake these long distance walks, not necessarily for one reason or another, but they get something of tremendous value for themselves from this. And I don't think there's enough work going on to understand what's going on. But nonetheless, it is clearly the case that people have done this since time immemorial. Walking and teaching is something that goes, you know, the Greeks engaged in the peripatetic school. It's something that features in all sorts of stories from all sorts of times and places. And it is our natural adaptation.